Prime Minister Boris Johnson has survived a no-confidence vote held within his party, but suffers a huge rebellion with 41% of his lawmakers voting against him. The outcome allows Johnson to remain in charge. However, Boris Johnson has been coming under more pressure after his Partygate scandal, which saw him presenting a number of parties at number 10, while the rest of the country were under strict lockdown. Guy Henderson has the story.
Returning officer, that 359
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has survived a vote of no confidence, but not decisively.
The vote in favour of having confidence in Boris Johnson as leader was 211 votes, and the vote against was 148 votes. And therefore, I can announce that the Parliamentary Party does have confidence.
Early in the day, Prime Minister Johnson's allies seemed confident the rebels would lose, arguing, apart from anything else, that a drawn-out succession battle at a time of crisis was in no one's interests.
Do we want to be spending the next period up until the next election, which is less than 2 years away, focused on those issues which the public care about? Or are we going to spend not just days, not just weeks, but months focused on a rather internal conversation amongst ourselves?
Johnson himself sought to highlight his strengths, welcoming the Estonian Prime Minister to discuss Ukraine and speaking on the phone with President Volodymyr Zelensky himself. But as the day wore on, the path ahead looked increasingly bumpy, with more senior figures jumping ship, including Johnson's own anti-corruption chief, who accused him of lying to Parliament about COVID-19 lockdown parties in Downing Street.
Leadership and integrity are absolutely central to the ministerial code. They are baked into it, they run through it like a stick of rock.
So and
I'm afraid that means he's broken the ministerial code, and that means, as a result, that it's a resignation matter for any minister, and it also has to be a resignation matter for me as well.
By mid-afternoon, the Prime Minister headed to Parliament to face down his Conservative Party rebels and to make a final plea.
It's understood Johnson reminded his colleagues of the romping electoral victory he'd led them to just a few years ago, something he said he could repeat. He also promised them a new economic growth plan, including a cut to taxes, which are currently at historic highs.
As one ally put it, even victory by one vote would be enough. So this Prime Minister looks set to fight on, and he may need to, because a sizable minority in his own party still want him gone. Guy Henderson, CGTN, London.
For Insight, earlier we talked to Jonathan Liss, a journalist and political commentator. Take a listen.
Disaster for him. This is 41% of his party, a party that won a landslide election victory 2.5 years ago. 41% of that party has voted to remove him. That is a staggering fall from grace for a Prime Minister who had all the authority and luck and opportunities in the world and squandered it. Anything over a third would have been a total disaster. And it has to be remembered as well that his predecessor, Theresa May, when she faced a confidence vote in 2018, she won 37. There were 37% of the party that voted against her, and she was gone 6 months later. So I don't think that Johnson is going to be able to survive this, because it shows that he has no authority in his own party. How can you lead your party to a general election when 40% of them, over 40%, have said that they don't think you're fit to be Prime Minister? You can't take that message to an electorate. And that's why I think this story is just beginning. I don't think that he now has the credibility to lead the party for anything longer than a few months. He's not going to go away of his own accord. But the problem is that the only thing he ever had going for him was that he was a winner. He was a proven winner. People wanted to support him. They didn't support him for his beliefs or his ideology. They supported him for what he could bring as an electoral asset, which was victory. The Conservatives now have not been ahead in a poll since December. That's a very long time. And the public is overwhelmingly hostile to Boris Johnson. He was booed over the weekend at the Queen's Jubilee. So if Johnson has shown that he doesn't have the one thing that he was voted to bring. There's no reason for the Conservative Party to keep him. The only reason that they kept him tonight was that there was no credible alternative. And that is also an indictment to the Conservative Party, because if there's no one better than Boris Johnson, it means that the Conservative Party isn't very good either.